We are here right now to collect perishable evidence, and when we mean perishable, memories that may fade, making sure we're getting that. Then we secure it and move it to whatever locations we may need for testing. So hopefully we can limit our footprint here in the next few weeks and then move the rest of the information or investigation to wherever it needs to be. Engines sometimes have to go to another location, and we have processes for that.
All right, speaking there, NTSB investigator Todd Inman today talking to WHAS 11 News one-on-one. And we want to bring out our aviation expert, Louisville's Reed Yadon, of course, WHAS 11 News as well, accomplished pilot, longtime pilot. Reed, you watched the 3 p.m. news conference. He talked about the altitude of the jet and the speed. Let's break that down first. The altitude, 475 feet, which would take it about as tall as the Black Tower downtown, the PNC Tower.
Correct. And I think the data we got also shows exactly how forthcoming the NTSB is and will continue to be in these things. They really do an excellent job of communicating. The airspeed that we got today, like 183, is about where miles per hour is about where that you would expect at that altitude. So all of that seemed fairly normal. So that raises a lot of other questions. That airplane will fly on 2 engines. It raises the question.
And it has three.
It has 3 engines on it. It will fly on 1. It can go on 1. That raises the question is, after they lift it off, did they lose that second engine? And that, of course, will be able to be determined with the data that the NTSB has on board. I think the fact that we got that altitude tells me that they got into that data very quickly, which as you expect, because that helps guide the investigation. Because previously, the data that we got was the publicly available flight aware. Well, that data it obviously cut off at 175 feet, because that's what we thought previously.
2 of the big things that came out of the press briefing today were what was found on the FOD walk and also the black box information. Let's go first to the FOD walk, which is foreign object debris that was found on the runways, engine fan blades among some of the things that were found in the engine.
So that engine plainly was coming apart, grenading itself, making metal, whatever you want to call it, as it was going down the runway. So the pieces and parts that they found are very important. They removed that engine from the airport before midnight last night. Now, it's gone to a secure location, but what they'll do with that engine, and I suspect it'll be fairly early in the investigation, they will break it down, take it apart completely. Parts will be magnafluxed, they'll be checked, cataloged, and looked at for any telltale signs.
So we've been seeing photographs already from Washington of them. They opened up the black box, they're looking through it, they're listening to the recordings. But as far as the engine, the left engine that was discovered, it had fallen off and they found it on the airfield. We had a former NTSB investigator on with us live earlier. Connie and I talked to Bob Benson, who said the thing that caught his eye, like you mentioned, the front section, the fan blades were missing. Are they going through, you think they'll go through that engine here in Louisville? Will they keep those parts in this city?
That's a good question, whether they'll do the tear down in Louisville. I suspect they may take it to D.C. where they have a lab. This will all be done in a clean room and almost like an operating room. But I think the fan blades were missing tells you something on that engine was coming apart. And now I want to know how far, and they'll be able to tell this, how far down the runway were they on their takeoff run when that engine began detonating. That's going to tell us a lot, I think, and they'll be able to tell that. But those pieces they were picking up at the FOD walk, very important. Look at this picture that I had. The aircraft was banked at a very steep angle. Now, he takes off. He's in the air, but it's less than maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds until he's in that building. Look how steep. Okay, left wing down, landing gear still attached at this point. The aircraft then plows into the building. I have another picture here that we've shown, but this kind of puts some context with it. See the big indentations on that building?
Yes, that's a warehouse at the end of the runway.
That's the warehouse. I believe now it was a landing gear that came across there. Wing down left, landing gear scrapes across there, makes that indentation. Thankfully, the structure on that building held together.
What about the aerials we've been seeing today, also showing the debris field right from the end of the runway down to grade lane? And of course, we now know that debris field is a half-mile long.
So what you have is an aircraft that was probably weighing roughly 600 pounds.
So there it is in the middle of your screen.
We're going to come around here. There you see the dark part right in the middle of your screen. That's the debris field. That aircraft is doing 183 miles an hour, hits the ground. It took out a half a mile, just slid right along there. I think it's important that the NTSB says they located the landing gear or part of it. They're not going to disturb that landing gear until they're done, because they're going to have, I think they're going to dig it out of the ground probably. It's probably buried in the ground partially. Also, they want to secure it because there's some danger there. The struts on there have gas in them, so they want to make sure there's no danger there. Whether the tires have exploded yet or not, I don't know. So they'll be very careful in getting that landing gear out. They don't want to hurt it, because it's an important part of the investigation, needless to say.
Well, Reed, thank you for your expertise. I know you're going to be with us coming on the line. I do want to pass along this from our reporter covering the vigil, where Mayor Craig Greenberg just announced we now have a 13th victim in this tragic disaster. It had been at 12, and it is now at 13.
Someone was at the hospital.
Lost folks from our community here.
We hate to hear that.
Yes, we do.